Sa pagpapatuloy at ikalawang bahagi ng Balitaan sa Rembrandt last August 8, 2014 sa usaping Bangsamoro.
Peace agreement between the so-called Moro rebels and the government must be holistic, hindi po pwedeng factional. Now, makita mo na sa approach nila dito sa agreement between the government and the MILF, factional. Because ang faction lamang ng MILF ang kinakausap nila. Let me put this immediately. Makita niyo ang reaksyon ng mga Moro peoples. Samantalang pinipirmahan itong so-called agreement, peace agreement between the MILF and the government in Kuala Lumpur, putukan naman doon sa Indanan. Immediately, pirmahan doon, putukan. So, ibig sabihin, hindi umuobra. Actually, itong peace agreement ito because while incidentally, we should welcome any peace effort, I mean, hindi naman natin sila, huwag na kayong mag-usap dyan. Ang ating punto lang na gawin naman ninyong pangkalahatan ang pag-uusap. And may dagdag ko lang doon sa mga punto ni Brother Perdowsi na hindi lang mga Muslim dito, pati yung malungat sa loob ng teritoryo kung saan magtayo ng you might say regional government of some sort, dapat kasali ang mga lugar. Sapagkat there are also sizable sectors of people so are not necessarily Muslim. And incidentally, and I think Perdowsi will bear me out, among the Muslim people, there are about 13 major tribal groups. Idagdag ko na rin na ito. Sapagkat, anyway, forgive me, sanay ako sa Senado, 6 hours, magsalita ka, walang katuturan, okay lang. Anyway, gusto kong isingit ito, na ang Sultan of Sulu, kaibigan ko yun, si Ismail Kinao. Nag-usap kami, sabi ko, Sultan, ano pa tingin mo dito sa agreement na ito? I was talking about the MILF and the so-called recent agreement. Sabi niya, ayaw ko yun. Sabi, Sultan, bakit? Pero kung ngalanan nila yung Sulusi, Bangsamoro si, ayaw namin yan. Bakit? Sabi ko, Sultan, bakit? Yung salitang Moro, ayaw namin. Nagkagulat ako, Sultan, bakit? Dala ng Espanya yun. Alam mo naman, they are trying to categorize us as uncivilized, warlike, mga grupo na puro gulo ang nasa isip. Kaya ayaw namin. So anong gusto mong mangyari doon sa Sulusi? Huwag nila ngalanan, Bangsamoro si, sa amin Sulok. And that's what they want to be referred to as Sulok, meaning to say people of the waves. Hindi Moro. So, marami pa. In other words, ang dami pang dapat ayusin dyan sa agreement.
Ayon sa basic law, to be submitted to Congress to implement the agreement, that some members of the panel refused to sign it. Sino sumunod?
With government panel, because in the Transition Commission, there are some MILF representatives and government representatives,
Correct.
and 3 of the government representatives did not sign the draft Bangsamoro Basic Law.
So,
Tapos sila, I forgot their names.
so in other words, what you're saying is that the MILF faction
They endorse
the
it.
basic law.
Yes, of course.
So, what is the objection of these people who refuse to sign the basic law bill?
They have problems with the wording that would cause tremendous problem for the Constitution, existing Constitution. They raise constitutional issues because these are lawyers.
Yeah, what are these issues? What are these constitutional issues?
Like for example, the provision on the creation of policing for the Bangsamoro, one problem. On the revenue collections, and then on the wealth sharing of 50-50, 70-30, so they want more wisdom on why 50-50 and not 50-40 as mandated by the Constitution, like that. So there are many issues. My point here is we need a Bangsamoro Basic Law to implement the peace agreement. Otherwise, the peace agreement will be useless. And if the peace agreement will not be implemented through the passage of the Bangsamoro Basic Law, then nothing is preventing from the MILF to go back to the armed struggle.
In your opinion, we have read the basic law. Would you say that it adheres closely and faithfully to the agreement, or is it revising?
Okay, this is the argument of the Chairman Iqbal and the whole MILF peace panel. The draft returned by the Office of the President diluted the draft that they prepared and watered down tremendously the spirit of the comprehensive agreement. So practically, it's by saying that this is not the agreement, that this is not the basic law that we wanted, because the draft basic law is not consistent with the comprehensive agreement.
So what you're saying, both panels, both the government panel and the MILF panel, reject the basic law.
They're not getting their act together.
Yes, they can. The Office of the President rejected the draft basic law, and the MILF rejected the comments of the Office of the President. That's why the two panels are now talking right now again to find a common ground, make proper wording so that a draft Bangsamoro Basic Law will be finalized for submission to the Congress. Ito nga yung sinasabi ni Chairman Ferrer, yung huling-huling yung sinasabi. Yung sinasabi daw na 70% are diluted, these are just repetitions in the wording. So they want to remove it because they want to create a draft Bangsamoro Basic Law that is neat and clean. Kasi daw, dami daw repetition and redundant provisions. So that's their argument. But this is my fear. The time is, they're running out of time. If you submit this draft Bangsamoro Basic Law to the Congress, remember the process of passing a law in the Philippines. It has to undergo several readings, committee hearings, etc., etc. And then after respective hearings in both houses of the Congress, then you have to call for a joint session before you can pass the law. So, mahaba-haba to. And we're running out of time. And
Peace negotiation, they're back to square one.
no, they are not back to square. They are going back to the old issues they debated before. Para bumalik sila dun sa pinagdidahan ba, annex ang power sharing. Binabasa ko yung debate nila, sabi ko, oh, matagal nilang pinagdebatehan to Kuala Lumpur. So bumalik nila yung mga old issues. Akala ng MILF, because that's already a done deal. But hindi pa pala done.
We all search and yearn for peace, especially in Mindanao. But the more we talk of peace, the more naman ang mga sounds ng mga guns and cannons. And we know that religion ng Islam is for peace. But it is ironic that even up to now, even among the ranks ng believers ay meron conflicts. Nasaan ang win and win proposition wherein the Islamic, say, influence can really bring a peaceful coexistence among NLF, MILF, and other groups. May I have your opinion?
Let's be frank, no? Just give us what is due for us on the economic aspect. Ang ginagawa niyo dito sa Luzon, iba eh. Ang binibigay lang yun sa amin, 20 eh. Di ba? Give what is due for us. Tingnan niyo nangyayari sa sa Cagayan de Oro. Their own way of doing how to survive. It's very peaceful and a very beautiful place. And also in Davao and Jensan. All the others, wala. We are neglected and we are being, parang hindi kami, part of this country eh. You try to travel from Cagayan de Oro to the tip of Mindanao and Surigao. Wala kang makitang matinong kalsada doon eh. Wala, sa totoo eh. We have been telling people in Mindanao are troublemaker kasi hindi nyo binibigay sa amin yung nararapat sa amin.
Iliwanagan lang natin sa sabi mo. Kasi yung blame game, yung turo mo, yung tatlong daliri mo na turo sa'yo. You know why? Sino man naglalagay sa mga ARMM, governor, mayors natin doon na binibigyan ng pera ng national government.
Alam mo, if you are referring to the budget given to the ARMM, wala yan eh. It's not supposed
Hindi nga, mahirap nga rito, may, kahit ng bigger ang budget, kung talagang seryoso lang, people like Miss Wari, na nag-trickle down yung pera, nagkakaroon ng leveling the playing field, hindi yung nangyari yun.
Alam mo kasi, let us not talk of the past, no? Tingnan mo lang sa budget. Ha? Ang slice of the cake belongs to Luzon. Wala yan. Kaya, nandito si Nene. Now, I will go back to the comprehensive agreement, no? Alam mo, comprehensive agreement, it means the concept is comprehensive because it includes the MNLF and GRP agreement. That is the accord, the MNLF accord. Wala din kahinatnan yan eh. Actually, it has already outlived its usefulness because of time frame. Wala na rin yan eh. Sa tingin namin, tingin ko lang, we just hope na hindi sana magkagulo ulit ang Mindanao. Because mahirap balikan yon. Ako hindi na. I just keep on praying na sana hindi na magkaroon ng another trouble in Mindanao. The only problem in Mindanao is the economic solution. Yun lang. Bigyan nyo kami ng paraan na magkaroon ng mga roads, mga pan-to-road markets, and then mga kung ano nakikita namin dito, mga mall of Asia, mga ano, then we'll have a good and peaceful country.
You see, the Catholics, they war on the Protestants, each group kissing the crucifix. The Muslims, the Sunnis, and the Shia, they go to war against each other. They shout, Allahu Akbar. You know, so many lives have been claimed in the name of religion. What can solve problems, perhaps, is what happened in the United States of America. You know, conquerors like Caesar and Napoleon, they conquered peoples physically. You have Mandela. He overthrew the apartheid policy. But Obama, for all his faults, I think, has succeeded in what, to my mind, was the greatest victory. He overcame attitude. So the whites voted for him, a black. So I think this is what should be done, overcoming attitudes by both sides. And we look at each other as brothers. And the moment that attitude is there, then we can live, you know, and coexist peacefully. In Sulu, in the 1950s, they voted for a Catholic Fernandez as governor. In Lanao, they voted during the time when the majority were Muslims as congressman and governor. Kabilio. So it's this attitude, and the attitude actually is being corrupted by people outside of the area. Those who want to exploit our resources. Tulad sa in the Moro areas, yung mga businesses doon, logging, lahat yan. 95% are controlled by people outside. 5% lang yun from the inside. So the problem in the South must be viewed primarily as a political and an economic problem, not a religious problem. That's why we can never join the call for an Islamic caliphate, because that is based on a very radical religious dogma which is even contrary to Islam.
Actually, gusto kong dagdagan lang bago bigay kay Romel, no? Alam mo, ang ating gobyerno really have to be careful with this so-called ISIS caliphate, no? Kasi this is what you call state-sponsored terrorists, funded and operated by foreign governments who controls the military industrial complex. Kailangan negosyo nila yung gera so they have to create more warriors. So, yung mga caliphate na yan, actually, it's a joint project by 3 intelligence agencies, foreign intelligence agencies. Kasi makita mo, kasi nakita nila yung weakness ng mga warriors like our Muslim brothers.
Share ko lang yung scholarly research namin tungkol sa sitwasyon sa Mindanao, kung ano yung mapayapang parte at ano yung may katahimikan at prosperous. Ito po nakita namin, ito datos po ito, no? sa mga prosperous cities sa Mindanao, na-observe po namin na yung mga vibrant, dynamic, economically, ay yung area na wala sa Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. Halimbawa yung Davao City, Cavite, Oro City, General Santos City. Pero nakita namin yung area na may mataas yung level of poverty, mataas yung level ng illiteracy, mataas yung level ng violence, at mababa ang level ng Human Development Index, poorest of the poor, ay nasa Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, Sulu, Basilan, Tawi-Tawi. Tapos sa Lanao area, very vibrant ang Lanao del Norte, na outside of the ARMM, pero backward pa rin yung Lanao del Sur, which is within the ARMM. So ang puzzle sa amin sa scholar, bakit ganun? Na binigyan sila ng autonomy, pero yung performance nila in terms of governance performance, very poor, very outside of the autonomous region, very high yung performance nila. In fact, right now sa Davao City, tingnan namin yung changes of demography. Ang daming mga residents from ARMM na doon na nagsasettle sa Davao City. Tapos sa Zamboanga City, before the Zamboanga City siege, outside of the ARMM ang Zamboanga City, pero very vibrant. Very vibrant yung Zamboanga City. So sabi, what is the missing link? Pagdating sa Davao City, Cagayan de Oro City, General Santos City, napaka-peaceful ng Muslim and Christian and even women. They live at peace in harmony. Pero pagdating sa ARMM, bakit ang yung bitterness makikita mo doon? So what's wrong? Galing pa ako sa Pangasinan kahapon, dinrive ko po, amazing, 2 hours from Manila to Carmen, via Epitech and Tipilec, so it will lead to the progress. Nakita ko po sa mga towns na dinaanan ko, ang dami ng mga doon, mga mosque. At bumaba ako sandali, tinanong ko, kamusta yung mga relasyon niyo sa mga Muslim dito? Ay, mapayapa naman po sila. Dati po nung nagsisettle dito, nangangamba kami na baka guluhin nila yung Pangasinan. Pero okay naman po silang kasama dito. So, outside of the ARMM, harmonious naman yung treatment. Pero bakit po sa ARMM, parang nakikita natin yung violence. So, what's the problem? What seems to be the problem? Help me find a solution.
Huwag natin isipin na ang fault ay nasa Moro peoples lamang. That they are a religion of peace. Because tayo, mga Kristiyano, we are also a religion of love. Why will a religion of love war or a religion of peace? Wait, you got sa akin? Alright, now, you talk about, bakit ganyan ang mga Muslim children? Bakit gano'n? Because the opportunities for development are not there. Bakit wala? Because discriminatory. Tama yung sinabi ni Atty. Galiting. Alam ko yun. When nag-propose ako to create the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, ang budget proposal ko was to give them, if I remember correctly, at least 10 billion. Ang binigay nandun sa 1.5, nandun sa napakalayo doon sa objective natin because how can you expect the Moro children, for example, to acquire social skills na nakukuha ng kanilang mga kapatid na hindi Muslim sa ibang mga lugar? When yung mga tulong para sa kanila ay wala naman doon. And therefore, theoretically, diretso ko na ito, what is the solution? The practical solution, mga kapatid, is really the adoption of the federal system. Bakit? Because tulad ng sinabi ni Atty. Galiting, give us what is due to us. It is true, the adoption of the federal system where the Muslim people and the other sectors of, regions of the Philippine government will get what is their due through the adoption of the federal system. Now, malayo pa yan because kailangan you have to amend the constitution, but in the meantime, I want you to know that doon sa Pimentel Center in the University of Makati, we are trying to get the youth of the Muslims and the Numads and the Christians to understand that hindi na kailangan magbarilan tayo, mga Pilipino, tayong lahat. We don't have to kill one another. And so, meron kami program na tinatawag na, I just mentioned this very briefly, Batang Transformer. Saan ang mga Muslim youth, kinukuha namin yung mga taga-tawi talaga, Basilan, Sulu. Hindi yung mga taga dito because most of them are already acclimated to the way Christians are dealing with them. Pero yung mga nandun, for the first time, ma-expose sila in a seminar, live-in seminar for 4 days doon sa Pistanio Farm where about, ang number namin usually is about 60. So, 1/2 of that Muslims and yung 30 divided between the Lumans and the Christians. And so we mix them together for 4 days para makita nila na we can live together peacefully pala. It's different kung ang seminar na gawin mo para sa matatanda. Iba yun eh. Ay, matatanda tulad. Ayaw ko tulad siya yun siguro. Wala na ba bago pag-isip yan? Pero bata, at least may oportunidad na magbago pa ang kanilang
Hindi siguro ito, no? Pero gusto ko lang ano yung kaya Tony, kasi Tagaluson ako eh. Tony, tungkol kasi sa budget para bakit kinakain lang ng Tagaluson. Kaya nga may kongreso tayo eh. Ano ginagawa ng inyong mga kinatawag sa kongreso? Di ba? Kaya nga bawat distrito may congressman. Yun ang responsibility paglaban kayo. Hindi naman senador lang, dahil senador national. Oh, yun, okay na tayo doon siguro, kakainin na tayo dyan. Yung inyong mga congressman, tamad. Siguro, kaya hindi nakakapo kayo ng malaking budget. Ito naman doon sa issue ho ng usapan, sana, pag nakipag-usap ka, dapat ibaba mo yung armas mo. O kaya yung, pag nakipag-usap ka, dapat bibigay ka rin, hindi yung puro itong gusto namin, pag ayaw mo, gera tayo. Dapat, give and take yun dapat eh. Kaya ito rin ginagawa, nakipag-usap ito, mayroong armado ron. Pag nanggulo, lose command namin yan, wala kaming control dyan. Pero sa totoo lang, kaya na rin yun. So, kaya hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng katahimikan sa ating bayan, hindi lang sa Mindanao, ganun kasi. Nanggugulang habang nakikipag-usap, may taong mamamatay sa gilid ng usapan. Dapat control yun. Isa pa, Tol Eric, dun mo sa agreement na ito, ang obligasyon ng MILF, sila yung kumumbinsi sa mga armado sa Mindanao para magbalik doon sa pamahalaan. Pero hindi ginagawa ng MILF. Bakit? Kasi tao rin na rin, pag nabulya sa yung agreement, tuloy na naman ang gera, gagawin tuloy nila. Yan ang buhay sa Mindanao.
No, bago dumating yung mga Espanyol dito, under, of course, the Muslims, because after all, they were the most civilized at that time, and they had Sulu, and also they were in Manila. Nung pumasok yung Espanyol, nagkaroon ng division. Tapos pinasok nila yung under ideology. So, I was thinking, then pagkatapos yung Espanyol, dumating yung Amerikano, nakialam din siya sa yun. Mindanao. The war in Mindanao against Filipinos actually ended in 1913. The Battle of Bagsak. No? Pero dito, tapos na ang gera. 1903, tapos na ang gera sa Luzon. So may laban ng mga Muslims. Now, in the Middle East, yun ang most tense situation now involving Islam. Yung Islam ng ISIS. No? Pero bakit nagkakaroon ng Middle East? Nagulo ang Amerikano. Pinasakay niyo yung Libya, pinasakay niyo Afghanistan, Syria.
Mga pinapauwing mga Syrian Americans, Iraqi Americans, Libyan Americans, sila yung kunyari ISIS. Yan ang malaking problema. Kaya ngayon, siguro high time na ang ating mga brother Muslims din, they have to police themselves. Dahil without us knowing, biglang-biglang may mga dumating ng mga foreigner doon, mga Muslim brothers from the Muslim communities abroad, without you knowing na meron hidden agenda itong mga to.
Sinabi mo, that's very, very correct. Parating man my outside interference.
What about the American hand? It's still
there. It's still all over our country.
Correct.
That's why the Philippines is called as a neo-colony.
Correct.
Now, if I can just say something, you know, in Congress, I hope Senator Pimentel can bear me out. I think yung budget is based on the classification of provinces. So, if, for example, Lanao is classified as this kind of province, yun lang pwedeng maibigay. No matter how much you filibuster, yun lang ang kanyang makukuha. Ngayon, I'd like also to say that one of the ills linking the more areas is itong
internal revenue allocation. Dapat yan pang-develop. Ano, naging personal money ito ng mga politicians. Alam mo ba sa
Power of the purse, power of the pocket.
sa amin, 1 year advance. Since time immemorial, ang nagiging politiko, nagiging governor, mayors, puro warlords. Dapat high time na ngayon, yung mga scholars like Sultan Abbas will be there. Kasi kung hindi, vicious cycle, tapos yung graft and corruption. Before yan, sa Mindanao, yung mga nagko-control dyan were the traditional leaders. Kasi in Lanao, for example, mayroong PhD doon to makbong councilor. Hindi manalo-nalo because yung dugo niya, natitrade sa yung tawag namin uripan, yung slave. Ganyan yan. Then when martial law was declared, natanggal na yan sila dahil linagay na ni Marcos yung mga tao niya. So there was a change. People like Kanda Nene were dito na lang, sila na yung mga nag-filibuster, yung mga opposition. So and yung mga yun were able to talagang put yung stronghold nila dahil nahawakan talaga nila. Like ito, for example, kay Vice President Binay, I am sure that under ordinary circumstances, he would have had a difficult time being mayor. And ngayon, that's already his enclave. So you have to look at the political transitions to get the profile ng yung mga political leaders.
Sa pag-aaral ko po ng problema natin sa buong bansa natin, nabigyan na po ng solusyon ng Senator Nene Pimentel yung 1991 Local Government Code. Nakalagay po kung i-implement lang po natin to the letter yung 1991 Local Government Code, nandoon local government autonomy, nandoon yung mga obligasyon ng mga local government leader. Kaya po nagkakaroon ng violence, grievances, kanayunan dahil karamihan po ng mga local government leaders po natin hindi po nagpe-perform. 10 years po ako naging advisor ng local municipalities of the Philippines. Out of 1,495 municipalities po na pinag-aralan po namin, barely 300 municipalities lang po ang masasabi po namin performing municipalities. The rest, hindi po nila alam ang gagawin namin. Halimbawa, pag nag-lecture po kami sa mga newly elected mayor, tinatanong namin, lalo po sa Mindanao, alam mo ba ang obligasyon mo bilang mayor na ito ang mga responsibilidad mo? Kung malalaman mo lang yung responsibilidad mo bilang mayor, hindi ka tatakbo dahil napakabigat po ng responsibilidad mo. Poverty alleviation, environmental management, livelihood, garbage collection, policing, napakadami pong responsibilidad. Pero ito po ang nakita po namin sa pag-aaral namin. Marami po nagmo-motivate na tumakbo sa pagka-mayor dahil po kahit na fifth class municipality ka po, poorest of the poor municipalities, you are entitled to an internal revenue allotment. At ang pinaka-minimum pong makukuha mong internal revenue allotment for a fifth class municipality, mga 30 to 50 million per year. Ito po sa Mindanao, nakita mo every 3 years po, nagpapalit lagi ng municipal hall. Dahil pag yung nag-expire ng mayor, sasabihin niya, yung municipal hall, bahay ko, akin na to, bahay ko na to. Kaya yung susunod na mayor, magkakayo na naman ng municipal hall. Pag natapos na yung term niya, bahay niya na yun. Yung susunod na mayor, magkakayo na naman ng municipal hall. Pero yung mga taong bayan po, patuloy na humihingi ng pagkain, patuloy na humihingi ng paaralan, patuloy na humihingi ng health centers. So, ang key po dyan yung local government. 1,495 municipalities, 116 cities, in at least 89 provinces. Ano pong ginagawa nila? Sa pag-aaral po namin, barely 300. Pinaparangalan po yun na palang gawin po awards para i-replicate yung kanilang performance. Pero bakit hindi ma-replicate? May problema po sa structure ng election season. Every 3 years lang, every 3 terms lang. Pag mayor ka, after 9 years, pag napalitan ka, that's it. Yung bagong mayor, ako naman, I will bring my own legacy. Lahat ng mga sinimulan niya, tapusin na yan, magsisimula na naman ako. Kaya every 9 years, nag-reinvent ka ng wheel. Walang sustainability ang tawag. Continuity. And continuity. So, yun po, kaya, yun po ang naging problema natin. So, I was born in 1970. I grew up in the martial law. Lumaki po ako nung dinidibate po natin yan po ang dinidibate namin sa UP na nag-aaral po ako. Wala pong katapusan.
Meron po mga nagsasabi na kung hindi natanggal si Erap, nalutas ang Mindanao.
Kaya, hindi naman ganun.
Hindi ba ganun mo yun? Meron pa tayong leksyong matututunan sa nung panahon ni Iraq at kahit yung Camp Abu Bakr, napasok niya.
Teka muna, huwag kayong nagpapaniwala sa spin.
Okay.
So,
kaya
hindi
ako
mapapasok, ako na nasagot, hindi mapapasok yung 46 camps kung walang blessing ni Uncle. Drone sa mga bumanat doon, hindi si Iraq. Hindi walang capability ang ating military na banatan simultaneously in 46 camps. Okay? So, yung mga kasinungalingan na to, dapat makorek na once and for all.
May drones na nung panahon yun.
Yes! Nasa Balabak na, naka-base yung drones for so long. For your information.
Hindi naman sinasabi natin, ay, wag na kayo mag-wage. Saan yung regular wages? Of course, wala naman problema doon. Pero kung isalin mo yung pera na ang layunin, precisely, para mabuhay naman sila na nasa ibabaw, on top of the so-called poverty line of the nation, kailangan na irespeto nila yung nature na binibigay sa mga empleyado. So, just to makita ninyo very briefly, na ang tinatarget natin dito yung RMO, Revenue Memorandum Order number 23-2014. Ulitin ko, number 23-2014. At kung titingnan po ninyo yung memorandum order na yun, it affects people outside the bureaucracy of the PIR. Therefore, ang conclusion ko roon, dapat may approval ng kanyang superior, who happens to be the DOF Secretary Purisima. But you look at the RMO itself, there is no sign of any approval by Purisima. Therefore, it was issued beyond, the authority of the department to issue it. Therefore, it is null and void. Therefore, it cannot be enforced. So, essentially, yun po ang ating panindigan.
Abangan sa susunod ang pagharap sa media ng Department of Agriculture hinggil sa mga problema sa mga produktong bigas, bawang, manok at iba pa at ang mga karugtong na suliranin sa mga produktong ito.
You should have